welcome to the Entertainment Science Fiction Programming Network, your entertainment sci-fi programming network. And today we say Ohayo gozaimasu, bonjour, buenos dias, zao an, zao shanghao, and welcome. And so we all got together from the last podcast. We have a call for all of us to come together, put our heads together so that we can solve this problem of the high gas prices, the sci-fi solution. And so today we're going to talk about the sci-fi solution to high gas prices. There's been many attempts to reducing the cost of fuel to you and me. One attempt is by inventing vehicles with high fuel economy. In the magazine, The Machinist, an article was written about an inventor from Lodge 48 who said it was possible to get 100 to 400 miles on 1 gallon of gasoline. Now, this inventor from Lodge 48 said it was possible because he invented it. It was his invention. When did he invent it? The article was written in the magazine The Machinist on October 8, 1953, on page 7 of the magazine The Machinist, 1953. But let's go years before that, years before the article in 1953. In the magazine Mass Transportation, an article entitled Exceptional Mileage Claimed for New Carburetor. It said, this carburetor invented by Charles Nelson Pogue of Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, was tested, and this passenger automobile put the carburetor made by Charles Nelson Pogue of Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada in it, and this passenger automobile got 200 miles per gallon. And then 200 miles per gallon was not the only thing in 1936 that this carburetor was able to get. That was only one of the achievements of it. It says there's many more achievements and advantages from this Charles Nelson Pogue carburetor: reducing maintenance, reducing carbon emissions. This Charles Nelson Pogue carburetor got lots of coverage in 1935, 1936. So in 1935, 1936, Charles Nelson Pogue, we got up to 200 miles per gallon. In 1953, we progressed with the inventor in Lodge 48. He got from 100 to 400 miles per gallon. But that's how progress works, right? We build on knowledge. Charles Nelson Pogue does something in 35, 36, and then 20 years later, but close to 20 years later, another inventor in Lodge 48 says, oh, well, this is what we need to do. We need to tweak this. We need to build on that. And then you build on things. By building on things, we invent better. That's how progress works. That's how science works. That's how invention works. We build on and we become better. 1935, 36, 53. Now, in December 11, 1979, Tom Ogle was granted a patent for his invention, patent number 4177179, Tom Ogle took a reporter on a test drive in a 4,600-pound Ford Galaxy. Over 2-ton Ford Galaxy. He put a gallon of gasoline in the Ford Galaxy that weighed 4,600 pounds using his vapor carburetor that caused no carbon emissions. He officially, with the reporter in the car, seeing, okay, 1 gallon, this is a 4,600 pound car, let's drive on only one gallon. And with that 1 gallon, he officially drove for 205 miles. And they looked and they saw 205 miles. Can we go anymore? No, we're out of gas. And they were out of gas after 205 miles. An over 2-ton vehicle. And basically, in the 70s, and they were talking about the 70s, that's heavy metal, right? Vehicles were made with heavy metal in the 70s, and so was the music made with heavy metal. And that's where heavy metal came from the 70s. So we went from scientific progress, 1935-36, 200 miles per gallon, 1953, 100 to 400 miles per gallon, 1977, Thomas Ogle, 205 miles per gallon in an all heavy metal vehicle weighing over 2 tons. And we keep progressing, right? 1979, 2020, cars made with fiberglass. No longer heavy metal in the 2020s. They're made with fiberglass, a lot lighter. Right? And so they're called fuel efficient. Right? Today we got fuel efficient cars because they're not heavy metal. They're a lot lighter. They can burn less gas than ever before. And so in the 2020s, progress, a lot lighter vehicles, fuel efficient. Now you can get 35 miles per gallon. 35? What? And people say, well, I got this vehicle. You can get it you can get 40 miles per gallon out of it. What? Where'd you get that? Well, you got to spend 90 grand. It's worth $90,000 on this vehicle made with fiberglass, so I can get 40 miles per gallon. Well, doesn't invention build on invention? Don't we go from 35, 36, 53, 79 to 2020, and now we're doing 400 miles per gallon? Isn't that how invention works? I mean, how do we go from heavy metal to fiberglass, and then 40 miles per gallon is called fuel efficient? Huh? One of the reasons why invention went backwards instead of forwards. Look at what happened to Thomas Ogle. In 1978, journalist Ron Leitner asked Thomas Ogle, "Are you afraid of oil companies or the Arabs coming after you?" And Thomas Ogle answered, "No, not anymore. I've had too much publicity. If I kept my invention secret, I might be worrying, but there's nothing to worry about anymore." 3 years later, Thomas Ogle survived an assassination attempt. Some months after the assassination attempt, Thomas Ogle dies under what's called mysterious circumstances. So other inventors look at Thomas Ogle's design, because it's a patent, you can go look at it. So they look at his design and they say, oh, well, here's why he ran out of gas after 205 miles. He should have tweaked this or turned that and had this way. And then they can design something that'll keep you going for 300, 400 miles per gallon. And they see why Thomas Ogle and the reporter ran out of gas at 205. But, they can do it. They can make it 400, especially in fiberglass. So why don't they do it? Because, well, they see what happened to Thomas Ogle and they say, well, don't have enough life insurance in my life insurance policy. Not enough to take care of my entire family when I'm gone. Yeah. And I didn't finish my will. So let's make fuel efficient fiberglass cars that get 35 to 42 miles per gallon. Here on the TheAquaPhi, your entertainment science fiction programming network, we're going to present to you the solution to high price of oil. And for the first time, you heard it here first, the solution to the high price of oil. But first, before we tell you the solution to the high price of oil, with the money you're going to save, purchase the TheAquaPhi. Well, the money you're going to save on gas, because right now you're spending $500, $600, $700, $800 a month on gas, and then that's going to cut way down to like $200. So what are you going to do with the extra? Purchase the TheAquaPhi with the extra money that you'll save from hearing it here first. Purchase it for you, for your family member, for your friends. Get it for your children. Purchase the TheAquaPhi. Go to TheAquaPhi.com. Purchase your book. Easy to read. Nice cover. Right? Once you stop reading, you have this nice cover. It's soothing. It's relaxing. You'll like looking at it. And also on TheAquaPhi.com, there's under merchandise, there's all sorts of merchandise that you can purchase to go along with the TheAquaPhi. Get your gear. Get the t-shirt. Lots of different posters that go along with things that you'll read. There's a poster about the wolf, because you're going to read about a wolf on the TheAquaPhi. There's a poster about the squintopus. You're going to read about the combination squid octopus in the TheAquaPhi. And there's purchase your favorite poster while you're there. And if you're following on YouTube, make sure to subscribe, and like. When you go on Anchor, there's like 8 or 9 podcasts that we have. Choose the one you'd like to listen to. Google, Overcast, Apple, Spotify. Make sure to follow while you're there. Also, you can catch us on Instagram. Follow on Instagram, follow on TikTok. Everywhere you see the TheAquaPhi, follow. And so that's going to be something you can do, because we're saving you tons of money by listening to this podcast. You're going to hear it first. The solution to the high gas prices. Oh, also, in the TheAquaPhi, when we're talking about gas prices and carbon emissions, this is how everything started. This is what this adventure is all about, right? Global warming. One of the causes of global warming is carbon emissions. So scientists started building underwater. Have lots of other podcasts where we're talking about life underwater and what it's like. So scientists started building underwater. And this is where the adventure begins in the TheAquaPhi. So purchase your novel, The TheAquaPhi. And if you miss those podcasts, you put The TheAquaPhi podcast episodes on YouTube, and then you can Look at the ones you missed. We've talked a lot of underwater podcasts. Look for those. If when you missed them, subscribe, follow, like. Here's a solution. And this solution I'm going to give you, it's going to keep me alive. You'll see me on the next podcast. Hopefully, look for me on the next podcast. Hopefully, I'll be on. Yes, this solution will definitely, you will see me on the next podcast. But look for me anyway. Please. To be clear, we're talking about lowering high gas prices. Right now, the gas prices on average about $5. And if you have to buy the premium, then you're way above $5. But let's say so $5, and if you premium, you're $5.60. You know, five, it's high, right? It's tinkering around five. So we are talking about bringing that price down, lowering high gas prices, what we said all along. We're not discussing alternatives here, right? We're not talking about electrical cars. Yes. We're not talking about solar powered vehicles. Yes. We're not talking about wind energy, ethanol, solar power, all these things. Yes to all of that. It's all good. But that's not what we're talking about here. All right. So on this podcast, we're going to discuss lowering the price, lowering that $5, right? By injecting CO2 or carbon dioxide into the ground, it helps more oil to escape rock pores and flow into oil wells. Injecting CO2, carbon dioxide, helps more oil flow into oil wells. More oil. Another method is steam. Steam also increases oil flow into oil wells. In China's Daqing oil field, chemical surfactants are used, and they lubricate the oil, causing more oil to flow into oil wells. 1 million barrels per day of oil is produced in China's Daqing oil field by using chemical surfactants. Okay, 1 barrel of oil costs a record over $100 per barrel. 1 barrel, $100 or more. The result is $5 plus at the pump. What does crude oil have to do with gasoline? Well, gasoline is an extract of crude oil, it's a product of crude oil. So if we use methods like CO2, carbon dioxide injection, steam injection, chemical surfactants, that doubles the oil production. Let's use sci-fi thinking, save the world, save people, save superhero thinking. We should have half the price. All right. So 1 barrel, $100, $100. We use chemical surfactants, make that same 1 barrel at $100 that results in $5, $5.50 at the pump. We make that into 2 barrels without asking for more. We just make that into two, so that should bring that 5 to 250. Let's think about it. We're not using the mentality of oil executives or oil producers. We're using this sci-fi mentality. not the oil exec mentality. Now, the oil execs, oh, I paid $100 for this one barrel. I'm going to make another barrel out of this one barrel by using these methods. Oh, I can make more money. No, but the sci-fi mentalities, let's use these methods, make another barrel, same price, but now we have two barrels for the same price, so we should get 250. And we're not saying that 250 is a low price neither. 250 is already expensive. $5 is way too much. 250 is already expensive 250. What we want to talk about is less than 250, right? But it's less than $5. So doubling the outtake should reduce the price by half, thus reducing what we pay at the pump. The already expensive 250 is less expensive than the $5 that we spend. So we have these methods that are readily and available. Use them to lower our gas price at the pump. Like us on YouTube, follow on Facebook, subscribe. And we were talking about enhancing our super abilities, and sometimes we don't feel safe. And we don't feel safe because there's shootings. And we have to become superheroes because there's shootings at the schools. There's shootings at the supermarkets. There's shootings in parades. There's shootings when you go watch your concert. So how do you enhance your ability to see what's coming? To have your senses, sort of a spider sense, enhanced. You know, sometimes your sense tells you, don't go here today because, but then let's tap into that sense and other senses we have to keep ourselves safe on our next podcast.